Hey everyone, Mick here. Today we're taking you behind the scenes of a historic deal that just sent shockwaves through the global defense and tech industries. Imagine holding $7 billion in cold, hard cash and having to spend it all to guarantee your country's survival. Who do you bet on? For the Australian government and their SEA 3000 project, a massive procurement for 11 new general-purpose frigates, they finally picked a winner. And the country walking away with this multi-billion-dollar mega deal is Japan. Today we're going to decode exactly why Australia turned its back on South Korea's rapid production and unbeatable sticker price, choosing instead to write a $7 billion check for Japan's bleeding-edge technology. Spoiler alert, this isn't just about measuring steel or comparing gun sizes. This is a masterclass in geopolitics, high-stakes business, and future-proofing for naval warfare 30 years down the line. To understand this decision, we have to look at the immense crisis-level pressure Australia is facing. Over the past few years, the Indo-Pacific has become hotter than it's been in decades. It's essentially a geopolitical chessboard where major powers are aggressively expanding their footprint and squeezing the zone. This forced the Royal Australian Navy to realize their current fleet is aging out and simply can't keep pace with modern threats. Yes, Australia has the ultra-advanced Hunter-class frigate program in the works, but that project has been hit with critical delays and massive budget blowouts. In modern warfare, waiting is the ultimate risk. Technology leaps forward every single year, and a ship that takes too long to build might be obsolete the day it hits the water. So Australia was backed into a corner, forcing them to pivot quickly and find off-the-shelf warships, proven designs they could order and have delivered immediately to plug the gap before the balance of power shifts. And that's exactly why the challenger, Japan, offering the Mogami-class frigate, became the perfect answer. If I had to draw a comparison, the Mogami is like a futuristic electric sports car built by a bleeding-edge tech startup. It wasn't just upgraded from an old hull, it was designed from the keel up with an entirely new philosophy. The standout feature that really caught Australia's eye was its heavy reliance on advanced automation to replace human operators. Everyone knows Australia's biggest military crisis right now isn't a lack of money to buy weapons, it's a severe manpower shortage. Imagine having a fleet of warships parked at the dock with no sailors to crew them. That's a nightmare scenario. The Mogami tackles this head-on because it requires nearly half the crew of older generation warships. Japan's technological leap doesn't stop there. When you step inside the Mogami's Combat Information Center, or CIC, you feel like you've walked onto the set of a sci-fi movie. They use a 360-degree panoramic touchscreen wall that surrounds the commander, providing a real-time, wrap-around view of the battlefield. This design isn't just for looks, it massively reduces the commander's cognitive load in the heat of battle, allowing for faster, more accurate split-second decisions. On top of that, the ship is designed to act as a mothership, capable of launching both underwater and surface drones to clear minefields. It is a genuine glimpse into the AI-driven future of naval warfare. Even though Japan is a complete rookie in the global arms export market, Australia decided this level of technological architecture was absolutely worth the risk. Now let's look at the runner-up in this deal, South Korea. They entered the ring with the Chungnam and Daegu-class frigates. If Japan is the futuristic sports car, South Korea is a heavily armored, high-performance tactical truck ready for absolute war. South Korea has an unmatched advantage that the whole world acknowledges, a monster production line. Their shipbuilding industry is top-tier globally. They have the capability to run parallel construction 24/7, building and delivering massive warships in a fraction of the time it takes European nations. Beyond just carrying the team with speed, South Korean warships are famous for being heavily armed with zero compromises. A prime example is their indigenous K-VLS, or Korean Vertical Launching System. It's not just for intercepting aerial threats, it can pack land attack cruise missiles capable of destroying targets hundreds of miles away, anti-ship missiles, and devastating anti-submarine rockets. If things go loud, South Korea is ready to trade heavy blows at any moment. And to top it off, their pricing is incredibly competitive. To give you a clear picture of just how incredibly tight this race was when the committee laid the specs side by side, I've put together a comprehensive comparison chart. This includes rough order of magnitude, or ROM, cost estimates based on historical procurement data. Let's take a look at the numbers. Looking at this table, let's start with the physical footprint. Japan definitely has the size advantage here. The Mogami sits at a hefty 5,500 tons and is 133 meters long, making it bulkier and much better suited to handle the rough, unpredictable waters of the Pacific Ocean. The Chungnam, on the other hand, is a bit smaller and more agile. Next up is the heart of the ship, the propulsion. Japan went with a Kodag system, blending diesel engines with gas turbines for explosive speed on demand when entering combat. South Korea opted for a code log system, utilizing electric motors to run stealthily, hide from submarines, and save massive amounts of fuel during patrols. When it comes to tech and weapons, it's a total slugfest. Japan flexes its futuristic 360-degree CIC and master-class stealth design that minimizes its radar cross-section. South Korea fires back with a centralized integrated mast packing a top-tier AESA radar. Both carry 16 vertical launch cells. But here is the absolute game changer that handed Japan the win. Pay close attention to the crew numbers and the price tag. Yes, South Korea's sticker price is about $50 million cheaper per unit. That's a massive saving up front. But Japan countered with a brutal knockout punch regarding manpower. Because the Mogami requires 30 to 40 fewer sailors per ship, multiply that by 11 ships over a 30-year lifespan, and Australia saves an astronomical amount of money. A single sailor doesn't just cost a salary, you're paying for food, family benefits, health insurance, pensions, and the overhead of building training centers. Australia chose to pay a premium today to solve its crippling manpower shortage and drastically slash its long-term life cycle costs. That is true corporate-level financial strategy, looking all the way down to the bottom line. Beyond the specs, another massive macroeconomic reason Australia chose Japan is geopolitics. When you're dropping $7 billion, you aren't just buying floating sheets of steel, you are buying alliances and strategic ties. Selecting Japanese warships is a major step toward tightening the bonds within the Quad Alliance, the US, India, Japan, and Australia. Japan is the primary tip of the spear for Western powers balancing influence in the Pacific. Operating warships with similar architectures means that in times of war, they can seamlessly share spare parts, software, and even radar targeting data via data link. That is a strategic advantage that South Korea simply couldn't match to the same extent. Speaking of pricing and massive bulk orders, a lot of people might be wondering if a smaller country walked in with cash and wanted to buy just one or two of these ships, would they get the same cheap price Australia got? Speaking strictly as a business analyst, the answer is a hard no. It all comes down to economies of scale. Australia ordering 11 ships is a massive wholesale deal. It's large enough to justify opening an entirely new dedicated production line. That's why the shipbuilders are willing to slash margins and throw in lucrative technology transfers. But if you buy just one ship, you're paying retail. You have to absorb the full brunt of the manufacturing overhead. And the most astronomically expensive part is the integration cost. Smaller militaries often use a mix of weapons from different countries. Taking a European radar, slapping it on an Asian ship, and telling it to fire an American missile isn't just about plugging in some cables. You have to hire elite engineers to write entirely new code and test the whole system from scratch just for your one ship. Plus, you still have to buy multi-million-dollar training simulators, which cost the same whether you buy one ship or 10. To give you a clear real-world example, when Thailand ordered a single frigate from South Korea, a ship very similar in spec and size to this class, it cost them nearly $500 million. That is significantly higher than Australia's bulk estimate. This is the harsh reality of the global defense industry. The big fish buying wholesale always get the upper hand. Ultimately, the conclusion of Project C-3000 sets a brand new standard. It proves that in today's world, technology that solves manpower issues through automation, combined with deep geopolitical and strategic ties, carries much more weight at the negotiating table than just a cheap price tag and a fast production line. So, what do you guys think about this game-changing deal? Do you think Australia made the right or wrong call by passing on South Korea's cost-effective, rapid, heavy-hitting production and instead pouring a massive budget into Japan's hyper-advanced low-crew technology? If you were sitting in the defense minister's chair, would you have signed off on buying this future? Let's get a discussion going in the comments below. I'd love to see your different perspectives. If you enjoy world-class, deep-dive business and geopolitical analysis like this, please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to show your support. I'm Mick, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.